What's going on, heroes? Pojiforce here. Welcome to April. With April, we've entered a new month. So with the Pokemon 20th anniversary, that means we have a new mythical Pokemon to discuss this month. So let's go on and make a wish with the new mythical Pokemon, Jirachi. Jirachi is the wish Pokemon. He's number 385 in the National Pokedex. He's 1 foot tall and he weighs 2.4 pounds. So actually this 10-inch figure of Jirachi is pretty close to scale. Jirachi is one of the 100 club, as I like to call them, meaning he is base 100 stats across all of his 6 of his stats. He is third in line for this, starting with Mew and then Celebi. Jirachi has a signature move called Doom Desire, which is a steel-type special attack with a base 140 power and 100 accuracy. It behaves like Future Sight in that it attacks a couple turns after the move has actually been performed. Now in his feature-length film, Jirachi Wishmaker, Jirachi was actually one of a number of firsts for the Pokemon anime. For one thing, Jirachi was the first legendary Pokemon, first mythical Pokemon, to appear in a Pokemon movie that could speak. Mew and Celebi, which came before him, did not. This particular movie also was, unfortunately, in my opinion, they made a bad decision with this one. This was the first Pokemon movie where they did not play that season's theme song at the beginning of the movie. They just went straight into the movie. There was no music at the beginning aside from background music. There was no theme song in Jirachi Wishmaker. So let's talk a little bit about Jirachi's lore. Jirachi, as we said, is the wish Pokemon. He's associated with the meteorite outside the Space Center on Moss Deep Island in the Hoenn region, where people put wish tags on the rock, praying for, I don't know, a safe launch of the spaceship, wishing well for a family member. It was a place to make wishes. Jirachi actually has wish tags attached to the points on his star, and it's believed that Jirachi can grant wishes. Now, in this anime, it's shown that most of Jirachi's wishes is actually him teleporting items from somewhere else. So, don't wish for a girlfriend, or you might end up arrested for kidnapping. Jirachi's real wish-making power comes when the third eye on his stomach opens, and then he's capable of not just teleporting things, but creating things. And in this movie, he does just that. I'm not going to give you any spoilers. I'm sure you can find this on the Pokemon website for this month. This is the Jirachi movie. So check that out. It was a really interesting movie in spite of the fact that it did not have the theme song in it. It was a pretty cool movie and I really enjoyed it. I hope you guys will like it as well. Now we gotta address the elephant in the room, because if you look at the mythical Pokemon poster, you see Mew, you see Celebi, you see Jirachi, you see everyone else. There's one Pokemon that's not there. And this Pokemon was a mythical Pokemon from Generation 3. And we have his movie right here. That was Deoxys. Deoxys was a mythical Pokemon in Generation 3 as well. We're giving him an honorable mention because in Generation 6, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, Deoxys became catchable in Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire at the end of the game, at the end of the Delta episode. So what defines a mythical Pokemon is that it's not catchable in-game. Legendaries are unique, there's one of them in the entire game, but Deoxys was a mythical, and that mythical Pokemon have to be given to you, special events. And now that he's catchable in-game, he has sadly lost that mythical status. So, we'll miss you, Deoxys, but you are no longer a mythical Pokemon. Now, the big thing I really want to talk to you guys about and concerning Jirachi is this really cool thing that I found out a few months ago about how to get infinite legit Jirachis. This isn't hacking, this isn't cloning. This is a legit way to get Jirachis. Now, just be warned, this requires kind of a bit of time travel and a lot of equipment. So, I'm going to break down what you need, and then I'll tell you how to go about getting your infinite Jirachis. So let's get to that. So starting with the most recent piece of equipment you will need a 3DS. In my case, I have a new 3DS XL, and you will need a Pokebank account. You will also need a Generation 6 game. X, Y, Omega Ruby, or Alpha Sapphire will work. You will need a classic DS of the DS line. Any DS will do so long as it has the Game Boy Advance slot in it. You will need any of the Generation 5 Pokemon games, White or Black 2. You will need a Generation 4 Pokemon game as well, Diamond or Pearl. You will need any of the Game Boy Advance line. In my case, it's a Game Boy Advance SP, but any Game Boy Advance will do. A Generation 3 Pokemon game. In my case, I have Ruby version. You will need a Game Boy Advance link cable to link a Game Boy Advance to either a GameCube or Wii. A GameCube or original Wii system. And what is probably the most important piece of equipment that you will need for this process is the Pokemon Coliseum pre-order disc. Now, the Pokemon Coliseum pre-order disc allowed you to get Jirachi for free. Now, the cool thing about this though is that it worked with any Generation 3 Pokemon game. You would hook it up with the GameCube and the Game Boy Advance connection cable. You would use this disc and you would receive a free Jirachi. Now, this is actually repeatable. If you restart the game and you play up to where you get the Pokédex, you can use this disc to give yourself Jirachi again. So this is what you would do in order to get essentially infinite Jirachis. The first thing you would do is use your Game Boy Advance with your 3rd generation Pokemon game, connect it to your GameCube using the Game Boy Advance link cable, and then you would use this disc to send a Jirachi to your Game Boy Advance game. Once you've received Jirachi on your game, you take your Nintendo DS, you put a 4th generation Pokemon game in the top slot, and your 3rd generation Pokemon game in the bottom slot. Now what you do at this point is that you use the Pokemon transfer function from the 4th generation game to move the Jirachi from the Game Boy Advance game to the 4th generation game. What you do from there is you take your 3DS and you put your 5th generation game in the slot for your 3DS. At that point you use the communication function from the 5th generation game to interact with the 4th generation game on a DS, and you then move the Jirachi from this game to this game. From that point, all you have to do is move the Jirachi using Poke Transporter from your 5th generation game to Pokemon Bank. Now at that point you can easily restart your 3rd generation Pokemon game, play up to get the Pokedex, get Jirachi, and start the whole process all over again. It takes a bit of time. It's about maybe half hour transferring everything over. Some of the transfer games require you to send more than one Pokemon. Some of them can be a little challenging, but if you do this, you can easily get yourself boxes and boxes full of Jirachi. Now these Jirachi won't be as good as the ones being sent to you through Nintendo this month, because the ones coming through Nintendo are 6th generation Jirachis. So those will have 3 perfect IVs. These ones are not guaranteed 3 perfect IVs. But if you want to have a whole bunch of Jirachi, this is the way to do it. So that's all we got really to say about Jirachi, the Wishmaker Pokemon this month. I hope you enjoyed the video. Again, be sure to check out the Pokemon website to see the Jirachi Wishmaker movie for yourself. Don't forget to download your free Jirachi through Nintendo Network this month. And as always, guys, stay tuned for future videos. I'm PojiForce, and you guys stay awesome. Take care.